Texas A&M offensive coordinator Colin Klein has some offseason goals for Marcel Reed. We'll talk about them on today's episode of Locked On Aggies.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on into Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. On the show today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about the Aggies' most recent commit, and that is 4-star linebacker Storm Miller. Heck of a name, heck of a player. We'll talk about him today. We're also going to talk about some quotes from OC Collin Klein and DC coach Bateman. We'll run through all of those today, but the quote that I liked the most out of all these quotes, and we'll start with Coach Klein on the offense in segment 1. In segment 2, we'll talk about Coach Bateman had to say in the defense. But Coach Klein had a lot to say that got me fired up. And the first quote here, this was about Marcel Reed gaining some weight. That sucker has had a box in every meeting I've been. He's pounding the calories. He has done a great job, and our staff has been great. As long as all of that keeps moving forward, we'll find where the healthy line is. So, of course, when Marcel Reed is, gosh, love him. I mean, he's, he 130 pounds soaking wet. He's not a big guy. And knowing he's the type of quarterback that's going to run the football a lot, we got to keep him healthy. And I think the way that you keep Marcel Reed healthy is you add some weight to him. So let's get Marcel Reed's official weight as of last season. Last season, he was listed at 180 pounds at 6'2". So I think they're trying to get that close to 195, 200 would be my guess. And at 6'2", that's not going to take away from his speed. It's just going to help him stay healthy, help him be harder to tackle, help him stay up in the pocket, help him bounce off hits in the pocket and make his throws. There's a lot of positives to Marcel Reed putting on positive weight. I wish that I was able to be on the same program as Marcel Reed, but obviously we're looking at calories the other way. But, seriously, it's a good thing that Marcel Reed and this staff know what they need to do to have him ready to be the best version of himself this season. I'm a believer here. And I think those of you everydayers here at Locked On Aggies know I'm a big believer that Marcel Reed is going to have a big-time breakout season this year. I think that he's going to take his game to that next level. I think that he is going to become one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the SEC. And I think that he's a guy that's really going to be successful this year for the Aggies. It was clear watching him last year. I mean, you watch him last year, you say to yourself, man, if this kid can just develop as a passer just a little bit, he can be special. And that's the goal. The goal of this offense and Colin Klein's goal is to get him to develop as a passer. So it is great to hear that they are working to get some good weight added on to Marcel Reed to make him stronger and tougher to tackle. So we'll run through some other quotes. This is just about the quarterback room as a whole. I'm so proud of our room. Every one of those guys does an incredible job. Jacob Zeno has seen a lot of football and he's a great teammate. Brady Hart, I'm really excited about him. I like that quote because Brady Hart's a guy, maybe he could be part of the future. Maybe he could be a guy that helps us out down the road and is a legit player on this team. I mean, honestly, when we brought in Marcel Reed, I was like, well, Connor Wigman's going to play for a few years. How much is Marcel Reed going to help you? I think that Brady Hart is a guy that could be kind of like that. Marcel Reed's going to be a starter for a few years. Then you're going to maybe it's Kasuga, whatever. No, I think that Brady Hart could be a legit fighter for this job at some point. So that's great to hear. He also goes on to say Miles O'Neal has made some tremendous strides from last year. Miles O'Neal has got a literal cannon for an arm. So I'd be anxious to see what he is able to do if he's ever given the opportunity to play. Colin Klein went on to talk about the running back Ruben Owens. He said he's a lot closer. There are flashes of what I know he can be and what he knows he can be. He's still battling a little bit. I'm not worried about him at all. I expect him to be a big difference maker. It's a weird quote. It's a weird quote from Colin Klein on Ruben Owens. You know, I don't love that quote. Now, to me, it sounds like Marcel Reed keeps saying Marcel Reed. Sounds like Ruben Owens trying to get back to being Ruben Owens. And maybe that process is taking a hair longer than some folks anticipated. And, you know, that's okay. I'm really not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about Ruben Owens. We've got 4 or 5 months to get him, to being himself and 100% and all that. So no, I'm not going to sit here and I'm terrified. I'm worried about Ruben Owens. I'm just not. I'm not worried about Ruben Owens right now. He went on to say, we've got to finish better. We've got to lock in and be able to perform in those critical situations. Every inch matters. It's a mentality standpoint, starting with us as a staff and moving all the way down. We've got to execute better and finish the deal better. I agree. I mean, there were times last year where A&M struggled to finish drives or finish plays. And it's just, we need 7, not 3. We need 7 points, not 3 points. That's the reality. So, Texas A&M needs to finish drives better. And when Colin Klein took the job from Kansas State, his offense at Kansas State was one of the best teams in college football at punching it in for 7 instead of kicking field goals. So would love to see this Texas A&M team improve and get better at scoring when they get into that red area. Coach Klein had this to say about the tight end room. I think we're definitely going to be deeper, more established at that position than we were a year ago. Excited to see what those guys can do. Very, very excited about some of those 2 tight end sets. Yeah, and also I love what he said about Amari Niblack, which was Amari Niblack has been outstanding and really provides a lot of versatility from a pass catching standpoint and a moving standpoint. I love those of y'all know that I'm kind of bought in on Amari Niblack being tight end 1 for this team. I think he's a great pass catcher. I think that he's going to be really good for the Aggies this season. I think he's a player that never got to really fully kind of break out into the scene after that year at Bama where he was good. So now I think it's time and he's going to be special. So this was about the wide receivers. On the edge, Mario Craver from a speed component has already visibly been different for us, along with Ashton Butler-Roman. Both of those guys bring a home run speed component for us that's really special. Love that. You love having the home run guys that you can hit with, whether it's a jet sweep or a bubble screen or a something or just a go ball. Whatever you can get to those guys is great to hear. This was kind of his opening thing. He said, every year it's going to be adapted to take its own identity based on the pieces. That's definitely the case moving forward with Marcel Reed. Across the board, I think we're going to have a better platform under him in a lot of areas to be able to do what we want to do. I do think that the ceiling with the floor and ceiling is higher with Marcel Reed because, like, the floor, if you have a quarterback like a Connor Weigman last year who has a bad day throwing the rock, if he has a bad day throwing the rock, you're just screwed. If Marcel Reed's not having a great day throwing the football, he can get stuff going with his legs. And that's why, obviously he was good throwing the ball against LSU. He was 3 for 3 for 71 yards, but he won that game with his legs. And knowing that he can do that just makes this room better, makes this team better, and makes him better as a player. So it's good to know that you have a quarterback that is capable of doing that. Last quote I've got here is, the biggest part of our mentality right now is truly getting better. I've been very pleased to the first part of spring with our practice mentality. We're a much more mature team with how we attack the practice field. That's going to pay big dividends as we stack these days on top of each other. A lot of great quotes there from Coach Klein. I like quotes that get me and get the fan base fired up. And that's what that quote was to me. That quote got me excited for the future, got me excited. Those quotes got me excited about this season, excited about the offense, excited about our receivers, excited about our quarterback, excited about our running backs, excited about our tight ends. Like, those quotes all get you feeling good. So I like what Coach Klein had to say. And I think that Marcel Reed putting on some weight is going to be a good thing. This Texas A&M offense, I'm telling y'all, trust me, is going to take an incredibly massive step in the right direction. And I'm very, very, very excited about it. We also heard from Coach Bateman, who had some good things to say, and we'll talk about what he had to say coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Fabric by Gerber Life. Life moves fast, especially when you have a family. One day you're watching your kids take their first steps, and before you know it, they're off to college. That's why securing their future is so important. Fabric by Gerber Life takes it simple to get term life insurance that fits your family's needs. With Fabric, you can apply for term life insurance online right from your couch. You could even be covered in under 10 minutes, and in many cases, no health exam is required. Parents, you always want to make sure your family's financially protected no matter what happens, and Fabric gives you the peace of mind to do that. You can get $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day, so protecting your loved ones doesn't have to break the bank. Fabric also offers free digital wills and access to investment accounts to help plan for your children's future. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their families. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. That's meetfabric.com/lockedoncollege. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. This week, I'm taking Aaron Judge more than 1 home runs and Shohei Ohtani more than 1 stolen bases. If they do that, we're winning money. Setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, you pay out as quick, safe, and secure. I always take advantage of Taco Tuesday, where Prize Picks offers discounts on select player projections for even more value. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. So we also heard, like I said, from DC Jay Bateman. And this is what he had to say about Coach Elko's statements on the defense at the end of the year last year. Coach Bateman said, I took it as everybody needs to be better. Coaches included. The linebackers were a part of that also. When we got here, we were patching it together a little bit. It was a lot of moving parts. I feel really good about our depth right now. So one of the big things that we wanted to hear Coach Bateman talking about was the secondary. He says about the secondary, there is more depth. There are more guys that can play. And I mean, that's good here. It's going to be the concern. Like, I don't care what Jay Bateman could say. He could come out and say, we've got prime Deion Sanders in our secondary right now. It's not going to make us feel better about this secondary until we see it on display. That is just the reality. The secondary has to be better. And I believe it's going to be. I've talked about that. And we'll talk about why here within these quotes, but it's going to be the concern. Until we see it fixed, that's going to be a talking point. He said, we feel really good about the guys we got in the portal and the freshman class. We feel really good about. We feel really good with where we are with the front 7 pieces we added, and some of the veterans in the DB room are really talented. He went on to talk about we definitely made some pretty serious schematic adjustments. The conference, like the NFL, changes all the time. I feel really, really good about where we are right now schematically. We've worked at it, and I feel we've come up with a good plan moving forward. I mean, there's 2 sayings for me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, fix it. And it was broke, you got to fix it. So it's good to hear that this coaching staff, and this is something I harp on all the time about why I love this coaching staff. When there's a problem, they go and they fix it. Sometimes you see a coaching staff, this is a problem, but we're just going to trust the process. We're just going to hope it gets better. I'm sure it's going to get better, right? And I mean, that's just not how this coaching staff works. This coaching staff sees a problem. This coaching staff fixes the problem. And I love that. I mean, they're always going to take accountability for problems. They're going to do everything in their power to fix it. And I love that. Coach Bateman said, anytime you have an explosive run, you can break it down to a mistake or a fundamental error. When you play linebacker, your job is to make things right. You're the second level of defense for a reason. Another year in the system, another year playing college football should help us. He then went on to what Marco Jones, who's a guy I think, first year here, freshman, I think he's going to be a stud. He said, we think the sky is the limit with that kid. I mean, when you watch the film on him fresh out of high school, it's hard to debate that comment. I think that he's a guy that I think he's going to work in and get some snaps this year. How many? Still to be seen. But yeah, I think that he's going to work it in and get some snaps this year as a true freshman. I think that he's that talented. I think that he's a really good player. And I think that he's going to have that type of impact as a freshman. Coach Bateman had this to say about Coach Elko's influence on the defense. He is more well aware of what we're doing and has a little bit more of a say in what we're doing. It's been great. Coach Elko, of course, is the head coach, but he's a defensive-minded guy, and obviously he's a genius on defense, and we'd love to have his input more. And it sounds like he's giving that now, and that's great to hear. It doesn't hurt. I mean, at the end of the day, the job is the head coach. You got to recruit. You got to do all those little things, all the interviews and all those things. But at the end of the day, I mean, help on the side of the ball that you know best, and it sounds like Coach Elko is doing that now, which is good to hear. Tackling was a big issue we discussed last year. And Coach Bateman says, fundamentally, we're looking at how we're teaching tackling, how we're drilling tackling. We made some improvements there. It was an issue last year, and it was an issue 2 years ago. So we have got to see tackling continue to improve for this defense. Jay Bateman said, the ability of our older kids to fix mistakes helps our younger kids. Everything is more advanced. I think it has allowed us to do more schematically and add more to it. The first year is always the hardest year, especially nowadays with how the rosters are compiled. And I mean, this has been a common thing for what Coach Bateman had to say of like, hey, like it was year one. We were figuring stuff out. We're going to be better. And I trust him. I really do believe him. I think that this is going to move in the right direction. And I think that we're going to continue to see this defense be better and better and better every single season. Cool quote here from Coach Bateman. He said, today, this was on April 2nd, is Autism Awareness Day, and my son has autism. The people in College Station and where my son goes to school have been awesome. It's a tribute to this community. That's good to see that his son is just, getting treated with a ton of love and everyone's being there to help. That's a really cool quote from Coach Bateman and says a lot about the Texas A&M community, which everyone knows is an incredible group of human beings. In the Bryce Anderson, one quote from BA, he said, he was asked, like, who's been impressing you of the newcomers? And he goes, Jordan Shaw, the Washington transfer DB. I'm just thinking about DBs right now. All of the D-line guys have come in, have been straight dogs as well. But Jordan Shaw, I love hearing that. We need guys to come in and step up in this secondary. And it sounds, of course, like, hey, Coach or Bryce Anderson, one of our veteran players who's a really good player, came out and said, hey, this guy is really, really, really good. So I like that we get to hear that. I like that we get to hear that from Bryce Anderson, because those players are going to be really good. We're going to talk about the addition of Storm Miller, the newest commit for the Aggies, and we'll do that coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I got to tell you about our wonderful friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost. For me right now, we've had all this weather and all these storms, and I need a little boost because it's so dreary outside. I need the 5 Hour Energy to get me going for the day. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in around the golf, which I wish I could right now, fishing, whatever you want, 5 Hour Energy helps you keep up with your busy day and gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. As I said, I've been staying up watching the tournament, and 5 Hour Energy has been a big reason why I've been able to do that. With the longer days, I've been getting out fishing a lot more, and what's been doing that for me is all of the perfect, awesome flavors over at 5 Hour Energy. Whether I'm at a game or traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery store or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. Also want to show you all our promo video for the bracket breakdown between Locked On and Amazon Fire TV. Really cool thing. If you want to know what's going on with Final Four, we're going to want to check them out. And here's a little promo for that.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
So, of course, the Aggies land 4-star linebacker, Storm Miller. And if you asked me, give me a top 5 all-time name for a football player / linebacker, I'd say maybe like Storm Miller. And that's the case here. My favorite part about the addition of Storm Miller. So he's ranked 329th, 4-star guy. My favorite part about him is that he is from Strongsville, Ohio, and Ohio State wanted him really, 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 really bad, but he picks Texas A&M. So let's see where Stormsville, Ohio is. Stormsville. Did I spell that right? Oh, Strongsville. Stormsville would be his last name. They're going to call it that one day when he's done at Texas A&M. Strongsville, Ohio is, okay, it's kind of up near Gary, Indiana. Gary, Indiana. Well, not Gary, Indiana. It's up near the river. Or not the river. Gosh, the Lake Erie. Excuse me, Lake Erie. I'm a non-Ohio knower. Gary, Indiana is right by, which river is that? Lake Michigan. So I was thinking about the rivers and got confused. But point is, it's northern Michigan. And, of course, I mean, so he's up there in Big Ten country. That is Big Ten country. He's awful close to Michigan. He is awful close to Pennsylvania. I mean, he is in Big Ten country. And with an Ohio State offer, a kid from the state of Ohio ends up picking the Aggies. I really love to see that. That's really cool. We'll talk more about him as a player next week. But yeah, I mean, the film on him, he's a high IQ player. He's quick to the ball. He's a great tackler, kind of piggybacking of what we just talked about from what Coach Bateman said. Texas A&M's got to be a better tackler, and he's a really sound tackler. He can get after the quarterback. I like the size at 6'3", 220. I mean, that is a legit thumper linebacker size, 6'3", 220. I mean, like, how much does York weigh? Terry York weighs, he is 6 foot 235. So a bit more of a thumper there. But, I mean, at 6'3", 220, he's probably got 10, 15 pounds of muscle left in him. He's got a long time, of course, before he's playing here. It's a good frame. It's a good build to be a star in the college football world. And I love Ohio State just won the Natty, of course. And this is a kid they wanted in their backyard. And Coach Elko and Coach Bateman went in and took him. So it's great to see. The Texas A&M class currently sits 5th overall with the addition of Storm Miller. Add another great linebacker to this class, 5th overall, got 10 commits. We're in a good spot right now. We're still worried about those Texas commits, but you just got to be happy with how this class is looking right now. So big addition. We'll talk more about Storm Miller next week, but that's going to do it for today's episode and this week here at Locked On Aggies. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review over on all podcast platforms wherever you're listening to it. I would appreciate that a ton. Helps me out and helps the show out. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday right here on Locked On Aggies.